Bow, 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 bow. Welcome back, everybody, to Maddie Plays Things. I got a banger for you today. I've got some highlights from the Gears of War E-Day beta. First weekend went live. If you guys haven't seen my footage or a ton of other people's footage on it, awesome. We're going to dive right into it. You're going to listen to me talk, hopefully, while I play some games, get some highlights. We'll see. We're going to start this video in 3, 2, 1. Bow, bow, bow. Welcome back, guys, and thank you for dealing with that cringy-ass intro. Again, always trying to push the envelope here at Matt Plays Things and do new things, so let's get into it. I just wanted to talk a little bit about Gears E-Day. I feel like there are games that stick with you because they were an experience, because they were good, and then there are some games that kind of bring you back to like a part of your life. For me, there's the GTA 5s. One in particular is a game we're going to be looking at today, which is the Gears of War franchise. For me, when I think Gears, I don't think insane Gnasher battles, I don't think chainsaw battles, I don't think torque bows hitting me unexpectedly, popping my head, or even wall bouncing, honestly. Whether we've all been there, it's a blessing and a curse, right? Especially when you're getting sawed in half by a Gnasher. But I think, it brings me back to being a kid, sitting in front of an Xbox 360 in early 2008, 2009, when I got my first 32-inch TV in my Xbox 360 that I think had 28 gigabytes, if I'm not mistaken, 28 gigabyte hard drive or something obscure like that, which is just so funny to laugh at. Because I mean, Gears of War E-Day is already bigger than just that. But yeah, it's just it's a game that brings us back, and it's really important for me. I mean, the original Gears came out in 2006, and it's kind of what it's a big pillar of what it made Xbox feel like Xbox. I mean, back then we're talking you had Halo, Gears, Forza for my racers out there. I feel like that 360 era had like some pizzazz to it, and Gears had a style that you couldn't mistake for anything else. I mean, you saw Gears, you knew what it was. It's dark, it's heavy, it's gore, but it's fun. Overall, it is fun. So when Gears E-Day was announced, that seeing Marcus, seeing Dom, and knowing that's oh my god, this is pre Gears of War 1 story. Real ones, no, we were amped up. With how Xbox has been, I was hesitant, but after getting my hands on this beta, I am no longer hesitant. And nostalgia is only going to get us so far, right? Again, going back to that, hey, they announced it, what's this going to be like? Xbox is in a weird spot. But they got to pull through. They got to make a good game. And after getting my hands on this E-Day beta, I genuinely think Gears might be back. The biggest thing that stood out to me right off rip is the movement. Gears has always had that weight, that heft to it. You're wearing armor that looks like something they'd be wearing in the WWE, right? I mean, you're slamming into cover, you're punching each other, you're getting blown to bits. And E-Day keeps that feeling of freedom, but weight to it. And I mean, we have things like sliding, jumping, climbing, and more freedom to move than we ever had before. And I'll admit, when I first heard about the jumping and sliding Gears, I wasn't sure how I felt. I didn't want Gears becoming another hyper mobile shooter where everyone's flying around the map and jumping and I'm slide canceling. But actually, after playing it, I think it works really well. These mechanics don't replace traditional Gears movement. They just expand upon it, in my opinion. And in that, I mean that in the best way. The jumping and the climbing, not only does it impact combat, but it just introduces more verticality. I mean, on Market, you saw a couple of those on the sides. There are a couple high points where you can get some good crossfire with the Lancers. There's more angles, there's more routes, more opportunities to flank people, which is a ton of fun. I mean, who doesn't love coming up behind somebody with a Gnasher and just blowing their back out? Pause. But no, really, suddenly you're looking at routes and the battlefield completely differently. I mean, it's so much fun. The important thing, though, is that the game still feels heavy, which I think is really impressive that they managed to have this heavy-feeling character, but with the freedom of jumping and sliding. They did an outstanding job with the balancing, not only in the movement, but I feel like in the gunplay. Obviously, the Gnasher, still incredibly important and still nasty. It wouldn't be Gears without the Gnasher in those close range gunfights. But I like that the other weapons seem to matter. I mean, the Lancer feels extremely useful. I can tell you from experience, I got crossfired a shit ton in this beta. And as annoying as it is in the moment, you gotta, give credit where it's due. People are using the gun for the way it's meant to be used. And it just feels like, again, going back to that verticality, positioning absolutely matters. So just getting a couple squad mates to be hammering, annoying a little gnats like me who like to push with Gnashers. It was pretty impressive to see the game felt really tight, really balanced. And, what's Gears without some good power weapons? And in this game, it feels like controlling those power weapons truly matters. I mean, different guns seem to have like more clearly defined roles based on distance, especially the, I'm going to call it the wrong name, what I call the emulsifier, that shotgun that's behind the counter on market. I mean, it's close quarters, but boy, is that thing nasty. It's crazy. So yeah, it's just, I don't know. Overall, I mean, it feels modernized. It doesn't feel like they're chasing like trends with this. It kind of feels to me like they're sticking to their roots but improving on it. And I had a chance to play Gears of War Ultimate Edition Remastered. Ultimate Edition Remastered. Yeah, crazy I'm saying that, but unfortunately in today's gaming world it's kind of a real thing. I played it the day before playing E-Day just to get a feeling, okay, this is Gears 1 with some polish. What are we going with and, what are we getting into here? I gotta admit, the first, match or two felt like absolute dog shit. Whether that was, server lag, because it did, the beta dropped and I'm sure there were a ton of people on it. Yeah, I don't know. It brings me back to, 2007, 2008. Just a ton of weight, a ton of brutality. Active reloading, I mean, what other game has you sweating when you fire off your last round? I mean, it's crazy. And something we haven't acknowledged is, you're bringing back a good story. You've got Marcus and Dom, that dark, disgusting atmosphere. There's nothing like Gears in the realm of gaming, in my opinion. And I think E-Day, outside of being important for Gears, I think E-Day could be a big comeback for Xbox right now. I mean, they could use it. And I say that as somebody who grew up loving Xbox. The brand today feels very different from when I was a kid during the Xbox 360 era. I mean, they've expanded into Game Pass and cloud gaming and multi-platform releases where, I think some of that can make sense, but somewhere along the way they've kind of lost who they are. And not as a fanboy, but as someone that grew up just loving, I have a lot of memories connected to Halo 3. I've met lifelong friends on Halo 3. In Gears, truthfully. So it's hard to see the franchise where it is. Yeah, I don't know, man. This just brings me back. But maybe Xbox doesn't need one game to solve everything. Maybe it's just, this is a stepping stone. This is a game that makes people excited about Xbox again, right? And playing E-Day reminded me of something I haven't felt in a while. It truly reminded me of why I love Gears in the first place. I mean, there's something really cool about being a kid who's probably playing a game that he's way too young for and chainsawing a 30-year-old and getting yelled at and called a squeaker and just there's really it's an incredibly difficult feeling to recreate. And maybe that's why E-Day just might be more important than people realize. Maybe this isn't about putting Gears of War where it belongs or Halo. It might be a reminder to Xbox that, hey, you don't got to reinvent everything you do and just lock in and visit what you did right and make it, bring it back to life, right? I mean, Gears helped define Xbox a long time ago, 20 years ago. And we're at a time right now where Xbox could really use a win, and maybe Gears might be the win that they're looking for. So I don't know. I don't want to be too optimistic, but if this beta is anything to go by, I am incredibly excited to see how the launch goes, how it's perceived by reviewers, by fans, lifelong fans. This is the first time in a while Gears doesn't feel, just like a nostalgic afterthought. It feels relevant again. And more importantly, it honestly feels like the franchise might be right back where it belongs. I don't know. And that's no shame to Gears 5 or Gears 4, but this game really captures that Gears 1, 2, and 3 energy and, puts you in a cesspool of gore. I'm really enjoying it so far, so I'm really looking forward to the next beta weekend. And yeah, I don't know. That's all I got for you guys today. Hopefully you enjoyed some of these highlights that I've got going on in the background, and hopefully you didn't mind listening to me drone on for, almost 10 minutes, but this is just something I'm really looking forward to. So thanks for watching, guys, and come back next time. See you soon. Peace.